Long ago, Lexus and mother company Toyota decided they'd stop making boring cars. They'd start making cars that people either loved or hated. They'd rather be polarised than bored to tears. Five years ago, Lexus introduced the RC350, of which this is one. Then a year later, in 2015, they introduced the 200T, which has of course since been renamed, as all of the Lexus turbo 4-cylinders have, to 300, so it's an RC300. It's received a midlife nip and tuck. Lexus RC comes in two grades, F Sport and Luxury. F Sport is the top model, which is this lovely thing we see behind us. The midlife upgrade brought this new grille, which is slightly more complex than the old one, but still the hourglass shape. That's one of those polarizing things I told you about. The Lexus badge, that of course contains the radar for the active cruise control. This car has active lane control, active cruise control, and active steering. It also has rear wheel steering. And the rear wheel steering makes the handling unbelievably sharp. This complex triple stacked LED headlight is fully automatic, including high beam. And it's borrowed from the top LS and LC Coupe. If you really want to tell if you've spent some extra money, look for the F Sport badge. It's the one with the rear steering. The boot is fairly capacious, has fold-down rear seats in a 60-40 split. I reckon you could actually get enough stuff in there for a road trip. Sadly, the spoiler that pops up, that's reserved for the RCF, that thuggish brute we reviewed recently. When you start it, the steering wheel pops down and the seat comes forward if it's not already in the right position, though it should have slid back. The cabin is pure luxury. The Napa leather interior has several different colours, and there's this absolutely stunning aluminium detail on the doors and on the dash. It's got all the latest mod cons. DAB radio, no Apple CarPlay though, sadly. Lane departure warning, and active steering, and a shutter in the steering wheel. And the centre console houses all of the drive mode controls, as well as the seat heating and cooling. There's plenty of space inside in the front, but the back, there is absolutely no space. This is a 2+2, and when I say +2, the +2 would have to be completely and utterly legless. There are 7 exterior colours for the luxury variants, including new sparkling meteor, which is a blue. There are 9 colours for F Sport, including 4 which are exclusive. There's lava mica, zinnia yellow, cobalt mica and white nova. They don't give you much of an idea as to what those colours actually are, but the website shows they're pretty impressive. RC is a hefty lass. It weighs 1,740 kilos and has a 66 litre fuel tank. That means you'd almost make it to Brisbane or Melbourne from Sydney on a single tank. There's an 8-speed automatic in RC, in all RC variants. It seems strange that it's a few cogs short of the 10-speed in the LS and LC coupes. One thing that I noticed on the road is there is a little bit of cabin noise from these big wheels. And as I'm going through the national park, I can also feel the steering trying to tug me back into the middle of the lane. The big ticket item on this RC350 is in the F Sport version. It's got 4-wheel steering, which means the back wheels also steer. There are drive modes too, and they give the engine extra pep and the transmission extra zip. Currently it's in Sport Plus, and that means that it's holding the changes for as long as possible. You can hear the engine now in 3rd, now in 4th, revving. It's a pleasing sound, however, it is fake. It's been gotten at by men in white coats. I don't like fake noises, so in the bin with it, can't stand it. Lexus also has a thing called VDIM, which uses all of the safety stuff that's built into the car to keep the shiny side up. Lexus said it's so unobtrusive that you hardly ever notice it. Now, I haven't exactly been caning it through the national park because you can't, but I didn't find it obtrusive at all. Probably the lane guidance is more obtrusive than that. I'm going to slip it now into normal mode by pushing down. This car was released 5 years ago, so it's got the older style of Lexus cabin. It still looks really classy, but some of the controls are in different places. For example, the cruise control is down here on this stalk as opposed to being on the steering wheel. And the drive mode controls, of which there's 5, are here on the center console instead of up here on the driver's binnacle. To be honest, I'd actually prefer it down here on the center console. The ride in all modes is pretty good. It's been toughened up as part of the midlife update, but there's something about the way this RC 350 F Sport drives that's just extraordinary. It's not just that the engine has a lot of pep, but it's combined with that 8-speed auto, which is silky. It feels like a pair of shoes. One of the other things the RC350 has is a Torsen limited slip rear diff. That combined with the clever electronics means you can really throw this car around, though I've got to stress that it is not a track car. Even the RCF, which is quite thuggish with that brutish V8, it's not really a track car. But Lexus doesn't make enough of this car's driving dynamics. The chassis is unbelievably tight. This car's got less than 1,000 kilometers on it. No, sorry, it's got just ticked over 1,000 kilometers. And it still feels new. But it's a Lexus, so it's going to feel like this in 100,000 kilometers time. All of the safety features of this car can be turned on or off as you like. So the steering, the blind spot monitoring, the reverse cross traffic alert can all be turned off if you find they annoy you too much. But I suggest leave them on, because these things really do help you to be a better driver. The forward collision emergency braking avoidance system is pretty sophisticated. It works at multiple speeds. It'll detect pedestrians and bicycles. It makes you a better driver, though you're probably just best off looking at the big glass thing in front. In the midlife update, Lexus made changes to the steering and handling, they made changes to the way the car drives, but they also made subtle changes to the cabin. The clock, for example, is straight from the LC Coupe, the big luxury one, and the knee pads have been changed on the center console. This car's $77,000 or thereabouts. So the question is, are you getting your money's worth? Well, it's a gentleman's tourer. It drives like it's on rails. Here in the National Park, that's what this car's made for. Doing Sunday afternoon drives as easily as it does the shopping. Crossing the continent as easily as it would crossing the city. This is a brilliant little car. It's brilliant and it's underrated. Lexus sells so few of them, and that's a shame. Arguably, it's better looking than a BMW or a Mercedes, or even an Audi. Certainly more controversial. That's all for the Lexus 350 Coupe. Don't forget, as always, hit the button to subscribe. Oh, I forgot to rate it. I'm going to rate this at 8 out of 10. Don't forget, hit the little round button just there to subscribe.